Howdy, gang. Welcome to another day of my life. um, I got home about an hour or so ago, sat back, relaxed, dealt with the non-work aspect of my day that basically happened while I was gone, which is a different video. Uh, I am happy that I stuck with Dickies because not only is it a little bit easier of a job right now, even though I do have a little bit of a learning curve. Today, I basically did learning how to use their register system, which, as simple as it is, because it's just like most of the other systems I've worked on where you click on the various buttons and it gives you your information. It's just finding out what those buttons are, where they're located, where to go, how to get to one from point A to point B. Those little things that I need some side work with. Sorry if I'm like slurring and whatnot. It's because the factor I without lack of no better words than to say that I'm salivating because the smell from my job makes me hungry. But the thing is, I'm trying to stay on a plan of sorts for healthier eating. In fact, I was able to, thanks to a gift from a friend, I have money for Amazon because they gifted me a $25 gift card for Amazon, and why I got it I don't know, but I ordered 2 books. One of them is entitled Modern Viking, which just talks about the how a person with a Viking mindset could survive, or how to have a Viking, I keep on saying Viking, a Viking attitude in today's society. And it has everything from the mindset of a Viking to the diet of a Viking to just general things that you would probably see a modern Viking looking or talking or acting or eating. The other one is actually a cookbook for Viking. Basically, it was called Viking Cooking, a balance between protein or carbon protein diet for weight loss and disease prevention, and just basically making your body and fortifying your body into a well balanced meal that will help your body in the long run. And once I get my hands on those books, which will be sometime this weekend, I will do a quick synopsis or a quick preview of the books so you hear what I'm doing. One of the other things that I'm doing, which is I've already talked about the physical changes I'm trying to make, which is basically everything from diet to fitness. And today was a day that I decided to walk a short distance. Basically, my wife met me at a halfway point between here and a doctor's appointment that she had, which I talk about in a separate video, which will not get published until I know what's going on, or until she says that she'll allow me to put that video out. And the reason why I say allow me is because it has to do with her, and because of the fact that it's her medical issue and it's her things that she has to go through. She'd rather me wait until she's ready to have the general public know what's going on. And I think what it is she wants to put her video out first before I put mine out, which is just as fine dandy, because I made a mistake, and I learned from that mistake is she didn't want me to put out any videos about her birthday until she put one of her own out, and I jumped the gun. Shame on me. It should have been all about her. And that one instance when it should have been about her, I turned it into something about me for a second, and oops, my bad. But I learned, it's like, hey, as long as you're learning from your mistakes, you know, it's fine and dandy because you learned from your mistakes. So I'm not going to put out the video. But anyhow, I walked, I say the equivalency of a New York block, maybe half a block from New York. Which wasn't too bad because I had a drink with me so I could keep myself hydrated. And thankfully, even though it was very sunny and it was in the upper 80s, I think it was like 88 degrees or something like that, there was a breeze. And it wasn't a hot, muggy breeze. It was a decent cooling breeze. So I wasn't overheating and anything like that. But hey, I did it. That's all I have to say is I'm finally making an effort to do what I say that I want to do, because a lot of times I sit there and go, oh, we should go for a walk, or oh, we should do this for our health, or oh, we should do that. Up until this year, I've never basically committed to my goals. This year, I am committed to keep my goals and go for what I say I'm going to go for and do what I say I'm going to do, and quit sitting around going, oh, I got a little bit of a belly. I think I should, do something to tone it down into muscle. And then I'm reminded of what my dad used to say about himself. Oh, it's relaxed muscle. Yeah, Dad, it's relaxed muscle, but because of your health issues, you should be trying to do something about it like your doctors say. I haven't had a doctor say anything about, weight loss or anything like that. My doctor has said to watch my sugar intake more than anything else. And, well, yeah, here I am. Luckily, I am limited myself to, I've actually went from 2 cans to 1 can a day. And at work, I drink tea. Now, yes, there is sugar in sweet tea, but not as much sugar as a soda. Then I found out by reading some information, ginseng, green tea with ginseng and honey, less sugars than regular sweet tea. So I drink that around the house. I did find out today that I can bring my own, I don't have one in here, but it's a 44 ounce reusable drink tumbler, as my wife calls it. So I just need to go out and buy myself some more green tea and make that, or take that to work. So I'm trying to make conscious efforts on these things. The second thing I've been trying to do was the mental or psychological aspect of my changes, which I do more reading. I've got, see if I can get it without being too destructive. Oh. It's in a book. I started a couple different projects that make me think, like the project I've been working on for, I don't know how long, drafting. So that makes me think, because you have to figure things out, and you have to design and mathematically formulate distances on small paper. So like an inch equals a foot. Every foot equals so many feet. Like a foot could equal 10 to 50 feet. 10 feet for a small section, 50 foot for a larger section. Different formulas and angles and just different things like that you have to figure out for drafting. And then word search puzzles, and I have a couple different games on my phone that are thinking games. You can't just blindly do stuff. So there's my psychological, mental aspects. That in factor, you guys have pointed out, and I'm waking up to the realization of I'm happier, which makes me feel better, which makes my endorphins go up, which gives me more energy, which has me doing more projects around the house, which makes me feel even better because now my house is cleaner. My house is more organized. It's not waiting. There's not a waiting game. The only waiting game there is right now is if there's something Jerry needs my help with when I come home for work, she's got to wait for me. But with all the things that are going on, all the things that I'm doing in those two realms, I'm feeling better. I'm more energized. I'm more relaxed. I'm happier. The only thing I could wish for is less allergy problems, which I'm hoping with the new cookbooks and the new books I'm supposed to be getting this weekend, maybe that will help fortify my body and my immune system against the allergies, because 9 times out of 10, allergies are connected to your immune system, which is connected to your health. You know, things I'm learning as I'm going. The third and final aspect, which I kind of talked about in the other video, but I'm going to talk to you about a little bit now, is the spiritual aspect, or I don't want to say a religious aspect, because that can conjure up a whole mess of worms that I don't want to deal with. But the spiritual aspect, and you can call it religion, you can call it spirituality, you can call it whatever you want, but it has to do with my eternal soul. And one of the things that I've always been a strong believer that not one religion holds all the answers. You have to be willing to try and understand a little bit of all the different religious aspects that there are out there. And yes, in this case, I use the word religious because when I think of religious, I think of Christianity, Buddhism, Mohammedanism, Confucianism, Shamanism, Druidism, all the different isms. Now, I know I talked about this before in a couple different other videos, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background. So this video might be a little bit longer, and I'll have to adjust the commercials, which I've learned how to do, so there won't be as many as commercials as some of the other videos. I was born and raised a Christian. When my parents first started taking me to church, which was in Little Rock, Arkansas during the 80s, we went to Church of Christ. Now, I do vaguely remember bits and pieces of my youthful, early Christian footprints, upbringing, whatever you want to call it. I remember my dad used to drive the Sunday morning school bus for our church. And I remember going to church, and I used to dress in a nice suit, basically tie, vest or coat, and suit pants. And this was not a choice. This is kind of what my parents put me into. In the 3.5 to almost 4 years we were down there, we went to Church of Christ. Now, my parents weren't exactly 100% big church people. Not that they weren't Christian-based. They just didn't like large churches. They liked these small community churches. Now, when we went to Germany, when my dad got stationed in Germany, I did not know, all the ins and outs and all the intricate details of moving from one place to another, because I don't remember. I shouldn't say I don't remember, but I vaguely remember our move from Tucson to Little Rock, and I don't remember church in Tucson. In fact, to be honest with you, I remember very little of Tucson. I remember Arkansas because, in fact, a lot of weird and somewhat bad, not like really, really bad, burning my feet on the sidewalk trying to walk home from a friend's house because I lost my shoes. The various tornado drills, the problems my father had with his
military life in Arkansas. Little things like that I remember. But when we got to Germany, we were invited to a community Christian church that was ran by a minister from the base who was able to rent a basically they took a barn and turned it into a makeshift church. Sunday school classes were upstairs in the hayloft. Main services were downstairs. I remember that, and I remember the potlucks and the fun we had there with that church. And then when we got back stateside, we were in Arizona, and my parents could not find a church that suited their desires. Still, even as a preteen, in Arizona, I was still unfamiliar with the intricacies of church life. Excuse me 1 second. It's a over-the-counter inhaler. It's sinus inhaler with Himalayan pink salt, and mint extract. It does wonders for my nose when it's starting to bother me, and I can't do anything else about it. Anyhow, so from 84 to the time my father passed away in 86, we weren't going to church. We didn't have a church life. All I know is that growing up Christian and having that Christian background set my roots in good soil, so to speak. We did get invited to go to a church. Me and Mom did after Dad died, and we couldn't settle down. It did not feel right to us. Did not feel comfortable. There was just a lot of things about it that just didn't feel right. Now, the benefits of getting invited to go to church and whatnot, even though we did not go on a regular Sunday basis, we went once in a blue moon. But because of friends and family members, we got invited to Sandy Patty concerts, Carmen concerts, Amy Grant concerts. Then we didn't get to go to any of the other concerts, but I got into like Stephen Curtis Chapman. I still listen to Third Day and For Him and DC Talk and Petra, and there's so many other different Christian bands that I listen to, including Toby Mac, who's more of a Christian hip hop artist. Petra, which was more rock. Skillet, which is more rock. I still listen to a variety of Christian bands, but I also have a very eclectic musical taste. So it's like Christian country. I grew up on country. Basically, I listen to everything except for the loud punk or rap or any of the modern day loud and noisy stuff. Not into it. It's too noisy. If I can't understand the lyrics, if I can't follow the lyrics that goes with the beat, no. Sorry, I can't do that. But then I also listen to Celtic Thunder, Celtic Woman, various, I don't remember the names of the bands, but they're like folk music. In fact, there's a gentleman that I listened to that Mom's ex-boyfriend got me into, and he had some really good, interesting, fun music, and he was John Williamson from Australia. So I listened to some of the Australian music. John Williamson, basically. But my spirituality has nothing to do with the music. My spirituality has to do with the fact that I'm rooted in Christianity. But I've read enough of the various other religions to have a spiritual understanding of how things can be. Now, I might not always agree with it. I don't follow any set rules or regulations or patterns or labels or any of that stuff. I read my excuse me, I read my NIV. I study the Bible. I write down stuff. I journal through Bible. But I understand enough of the other groups to know, okay, that don't sound right, but that sounds right. I don't think I can understand that, let alone that. Some people might want to consider it sacrilegious because of the fact that I can sit there and have a talk and have a conversation with somebody who follows Buddha and understand what they're talking about, or somebody who follows Muhammad and understand what they're talking about, or somebody who follows Confucianism and understand what they're talking about. I don't follow them. I don't go to their churches or their religious whatever, but I can sit down and have a conversation with them and see their side of their beliefs and take that information while having the conversation and compare it to Christianity and point out the similarities. Now, a lot of them might not like that because of the fact that they're probably trying to convert me, but to have somebody who's not one of their own understand them and point out the similarities of Christ and go, well, this is what the Christian people believe in. It's similar to what you believe in and what your people believe in. I don't think that God would have made a universe with so many differences without somehow being able to take all those differences and mesh them together in one way or another. Call me sacrilegious, that's fine and dandy, but I see similarities. And when I start seeing similarities, I sit there and go, the only difference between me and them is a religious title. In the long run, don't matter what your religious title is, we're all on the same planet. We all got to learn how to live together and see eye to eye and quit the conflicts because of a title. It's like here in America. We have conflicts because we have lower class, middle class, and upper class. All those are our titles. It don't mean jack squat in the end. So why can't we have open conversations with other religions, whether we're seeing eye to eye or not? Now, I can sit here and disagree with a whole bunch of comments. Now, unless those comments are being so negative and so asinine and so belligerent that it causes my blood to boil, I won't delete them. But if they cause my blood to boil and they cause me to get upset, yeah, out the window. Sorry. It might sound mean, it might sound rude, but the thing is, if I'm going to live a positive lifestyle, I'm not going to let the negativity in the front door, let alone the back door or the side window. Sorry. Now, like I said, there's a lot of comments that are out there that I don't see eye to eye, but because of the factor that I might not see eye to eye to them, but they're not being belligerent or negative or put downs or anything like that, I leave them. There was one person that I looked them up. They weren't even a member of YouTube, let alone had a channel of their own. They weren't even part of the YouTube universe. And the person called me an idiot, and I just went, out, gone. I know I'm an idiot, but I don't need reinforced people reinforcing the fact that I do have some idiocies to my life. To my life. I've had a couple people that basically demanded that I look up the facts and whatnot, and I'm like, first off, I won't talk about it unless I've already got my facts in order, because why would I want to talk about something that I don't have facts on? Now, I get a lot of my information from non-checkable sources because a lot of my sources don't want to be on the internet because factor it's a lot of my sources sit there and go, well, I got it from our local newspaper. I got it from this. I got it from that. Well, that I can look up and check. 9 times out of 10, they're right. But in a spiritual sense, if I'm going to be positive spiritually, I have to let the negativity go. And if that means, like I said, if it means deleting comments that I find negative, well, so be it. But I know a lot of people out there who are so, and I guess the only word I can use would be narrow-minded. They live with blinders on. That's what I'm trying to show you is blinders. They live so set in their ways that they're not willing to deviate in any way, shape, or form from what they were raised to be. That's fine and dandy. I feel sorry for those people. In fact, I'm related to a couple of those people. And I don't mean just my in-laws. I'm talking about my own family. Both my mom and my dad's side of the family. There are a few of them that are so set in their ways that they cannot see anything outside of their religious upbringing. Now, I look back at my life and I see certain events in my life that occurred that made me deviate from what I was raised to be, as some people would say. Because when I started talking to certain family members about Native American beliefs and their religious beliefs and their health and different things that I thought I was a part of until I got my DNA test. Because I had one aunt that was so adamant that, oh yeah, we're Cherokee. Not according to my DNA. According to my Ancestry.com DNA test, there is no Native American in my blood system. At least not enough to basically pop up on a chart. But the thing was, I was so in tune in studying everything to do with the Native American lifestyle and their belief systems and their everything that had to do with them, that I don't want to say I was getting so hysterical or so obsessed with that, but I was getting to the point where it's like I had to know everything. I wanted to know everything. And that's back in my late teens, shortly after my dad died. I think it was like a year or so after he passed away that I just started reading anything and everything I could get my hands on. And like a lot of old school societies, Native American, Druids, Wicca, all those different groups that are, I don't want to say they're ultra secretive about who they are and their ways and whatnot, but a lot of their ways and a lot of the information about them, you cannot just pick up a book and read. You have to go to them and talk to them. And luckily, living in Arizona, we were living Paradise Valley, where I was living at the time. Might have been about a 15-minute drive, if not less, to one of the nearby reservations. And the area that we were in was mostly like Hopi and Navajo. There was one reservation, I can't remember if they were Apache or one of the other different regional groups from that area. But I was able to get, I had a friend who was basically Native American, and he introduced me to his grandma, who basically openly let me pick her brain about different things. And I got to know a lot about their spirituality in ways that you just cannot read a book on. Now, Druidism and Wicca, I had to read books because there's, Wicca especially is they were back in the late 80s, early 90s. Were very, they weren't hush hush on the fact that they didn't openly speak about it, but they were like, unless you are going to like literally immerse yourself into their world or their whatnot, they don't openly talk about it because of, even to this day, there are still a lot of people out there who persecute them for their practices or what they do. But I learned enough to know that it don't matter if it's Druidism, shamanism, Wicca, or any of the old school religions. They get persecuted because of the factor of misunderstanding. Just like we persecute, we as in Christians persecute a lot of the non-Christian religions because they don't believe, they don't have the same beliefs in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost like most Christians do. Even though the Catholics are more, Christians were more Christ and God, and the Catholics will do all three. I learned from studies and conversations and whatnot, especially with the conversations in the Native American shamanism, everything has a dark side. Whether one group, what group you might want to talk about. Some of the groups go like, no, we don't have a dark side. We're all positive. No, there's a dark side in everything. Look at the histories. Read your history books on your religious histories. The Native Americans have a dark side, and I'm not going to talk about them. I just know that the dark side of the Native Americans is not as bad as a lot of people think, because the factor it's the Native Americans keep that stuff under wraps, as in it, once they discover somebody going on the dark side with a Native American shamanism, they take care of it immediately. They deal with it in their own traditional ways. Same with Wicca. Wicca, for the most part, is all positive. They're all about nature. They're all about healing. They're all about the positive aspects of the universe. Yes, you hear more about the darkness of Wicca because it's more advertised. It's more out in the open. It's more, about it because the fact that you see all the signs and all the whatnot, and that's what everybody focuses on. Nature in itself, we're going to go into nature because a lot of the different non-Christian beliefs that I've talked about, except for Buddha, Muhammad, and Confucianism, most of the old religions, the old school religions, which is basically shamanism, Wicca, Druidism, they're about nature and the universe and keeping balance. Okay? Now, even in nature, there's a dark side. I mean, look at how nature can be. A lot of people get mad because, wolves attack buffalo. Wolves attacking caribou. Wolves attacking elk and moose and deer and all the different things that they were designed to keep in check. Wolves are basically the doctors of nature. They seek out the weak and the sick and they remove them from the herd so the whole herd does not become ill. But a lot of people see wolves as dark and evil, and no, they're not. They're in check. They keep nature keeps itself in check. Okay, Yellowstone National Park, and I love using Yellowstone National Park as an example because I was there. Yellowstone National Park had the wolves wiped out by various hunters or trappers or various groups because people saw the wolves as being bad. Most of the people who were seeing the wolves being bad were cattle ranchers. People who had herds of sheep and cattle and whatever. Okay. What happened to Yellowstone was it became overpopulated with herbivores because the only meat-eating animals were bears. and mountain lion. Bears and mountain lion can only take care of so many, okay? But the herds were going just so crazy that the farmers and ranchers were starting to get paranoid about the herds of wild animals that could get their precious sheep and cows sick with whatever ailments and diseases that could occur. So one brilliant group said, you know, why don't we reintroduce a controlled amount of wolves into Yellowstone? And what happened was that controlled group was doing great. And because of the fact of that controlled group had such a large 3.3 million acres worth of wild animals that are part of their diet running loose, grew and separated into the various packs. But then Yellowstone started seeing ecosystems revitalized, ecosystems rebuilding itself, ecosystems going back into the natural balance it should be, because the omnivores, or hoofed animals, however you want to call them, vegetarian animals, whatever, were starting to be controlled. The wolves were starting to knock out the sick and the weak and knocking down the populations of the various animals that was basically eating up the ecosystem. But now that the wolves have gotten so large and the packs are so big and they're leaving the Yellowstone area, the ranchers and herders are panicking again and wanting to be able to trap and hunt and kill these wolves. Which is, I'm like, hey, dum-dum, those wolves will not attack your cattle unless they run out of natural prey, or they come across your cattle and they sniff out, because their olfactory abilities are capable of smelling sick and diseased animals. Go to hunt your sick and diseased animals. And you know what you should be doing? Thanking that pack of wolves for taking care of that sick and diseased animal that could have killed off half of your freaking herd. It's balanced. Everything is balanced. Spirituality is balanced. Nature is balanced. Life is supposed to be balanced. We, human beings, are so out of balance and so out of control and so out of sync with the rest of the universe that things have to happen. And here we go. Pandemic. A pandemic. Sad to say that yes, it is killing off millions of people, but it is nature, it is the planet trying to take care of or remove the sick and the weak from the herd. Why do I call ourselves a herd? No, we're not really a herd. I don't know if you've ever seen them. There are certain movies. One particular movie that came to mind is a movie called Virus. At the end of the movie, it talks about humans being a virus on this planet. In some ways, we are. Because the fact that we are out of control and we are destroying the balance of nature, we're destroying our own ecosystem. We are our own worst enemies. And that's why I think that the spirituality goal that I have to become in sync with nature and living a natural, balanced lifestyle, aka the physical aspects of me trying to get my body back into health and back to a healthy body. I don't think my gut and all this extra weight that I'm carrying is healthy. Mentally, trying to get my mind back to a healthier, positive, more, I don't want to say childlike nature, but I definitely want my mind to be the equivalency of an adult brain with its IQ level, but the maturity, no, I don't know if that should be a maturity, no. I want my mind to go back, or my psychological balance to go back to where it was before all the things happened in my teenage years, with 4 family members dying within a year and a half, an 16 to 18 month period of each other, to that calm, serene, everything's okay, there's no chaos, there's nothing out of balance, all is well with the world type attitude. Now, does that mean I'm going to cut out playing video games? Maybe. Does that mean cutting out soda? Most likely, I want to. Does that mean being an immature little brat? No. Does that mean trying to be calm, cool, and collective in a situation where a lot of people lose their, excuse the expression, shite? Yes. I don't want to be a person that loses his cool so quickly. I don't want to be short-tempered. I don't want to be short-fused. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be nervous. There's a lot of things I don't want to be that I can change to get rid of, and that's exactly what I'm doing. If that causes some people to be upset at me, well, as long as it's not my family, be upset at me. My wife, I don't want her to be upset. My mom, I don't want her to be upset. I don't want anybody in my family to be upset. But the world around me, I can't make the world around me happy. I can only make the important people happy, which is myself and my wife. My mom, I try my best, but she's set in her ways. And she's up there, she's in her 70s. I can't force her to change. I ask her all the time, can you please stop smoking? Is there any way I can get you to stop smoking? What can I do to get you to smoke less? There's nothing I can do to force her to stop. I can't force anybody to do anything. There are so many times I wish I could force people to wear masks because of the pandemic. And if we don't all start wearing masks during this pandemic, it's not going to go away. It's either going to get worse or it's just going to mutate into something else. But hey, maybe the pandemic will fizzle out on its own because it's a method that nature is using to get rid of basically a large bit of our population. Sad, yes. Necessary? Probably, maybe, I don't know. Now, am I happy about people dying? No, I'm not. I really am not happy about people dying. Because I might not know somebody directly, but I could know somebody indirectly that knows somebody who passed away because of this pandemic. Do I feel sorry? Yes, I do. Do I understand why? Yes, I do. Do I like the reason why? No, I don't. It's one of those things where I can only be me. I can only take care of me. I can only make myself happy. I know from past situations when I was happy, when I was in a good mood, and when I was basically being balanced, everybody who was around me, those who I was concerned about, my wife, my father-in-law when he was alive, everything was good. Why would I want to step out of that? Because I lost control. Speaking about losing control, I had to take my ring off earlier because soapy water, that's in my pants pocket. Every situation that comes at us, we can either let it affect us negatively or learn from it. If it affects us positively, great. But still, you can learn from it. You can sit there and go, how is that it came at me in a negative way, but I turned it into a positive thing? How did I do that? Can I keep doing that? Can I constantly do that? Can I lock that into a norm? I hope I can. I don't know. I will say this, I will say this proudly. I am 48 years old, and I still don't know everything. I am still learning. And one of the things that I strongly believe in, which is a full encompassing mind, body, and spirit type of situation, is when we stop learning, or when we don't let ourselves learn from stuff, we might not physically die, but a part of us does die off. Our minds. Now, scientists have proven that our minds is the key to our life. If we stress out our minds too much, we kill brain cells. We kill segments of the brain to the point where we stop functioning properly. It is believed that a lot of the people who get Alzheimer's, and that Alzheimer's is what potentially causes them to either become catatonic or just pass away, is because of the fact that they've either had too much stress, too much negative, whatever, negative lifestyle, negative eating patterns, things that basically cause a part of their body to slowly shut down, which causes the brain to shut down. Breathing. It is one of the second most important things in the body, is breathing. Without proper breath, without good, fresh, clean air, your lungs slowly start to die off. You basically burn out the cilia in your lungs, which helps keep various bacteria and things that you breathe in. It lets it stay in your lungs, which causes your lungs more problems. Now, there are people like me who have a decreased lung capacity because of bronchial problems, which basically is fluid in the lungs, which is, the fluid in the lungs is natural, but there's too much of it in there. The heart is also one of the three most important things in your body, because without the heart, you won't have that important blood circulating through the body. Now, when certain parts of the body start to die off, like the brain and the lungs, your oxygenation of your bloodstream starts to get lower and lower and lower, which literally causes your body to slowly die. The more impure things you breathe in, carbon monoxide, pollutants in one form or another, causes pollutants within the bloodstream, which literally causes other problems. And they figured out that's, edema, poor circulation, diabetes, various different parts of the body that need that pure oxygenated blood you lose feeling in your fingers. I have issues with my feet because of standing all the time, bad health problems, bad circulation, bad blood, bad air. I am slowly losing feeling in my toes and my feet. It's almost like I'm walking on pins. That's how my toes feel. And, that's bad circulation. That's bad blood. That's bad air. It's also stress. It's also the negative aspects of the life that I've been the life that I've been living the last, I want to say at least 5 years. It's just progressively gotten worse in the last 5 years. Now, what has caused it to happen? I really couldn't put a finger on it. Is it the jobs? Is it the money? Is it the relationships? And what I mean by relationships is, every so often me and Jerry have issues, and that causes I wouldn't say it causes a rift, but it causes a tear in our relationship. It causes things to go south. Now, is it on her? Is it on me? Is it on the world around us? Yes, it's on all three things. It's on her, it's on me, it's on the world around us. Now, does it sound lame that I'm blaming all those things? Kinda, yeah. That's because of the fact I've allowed my mind, body, and spirit to go to become negative. Do I want it to be negative? No. Do I want to get back to a positive attitude? Yes. Do I mend my relationship with my wife? Yes. Am I trying to keep the world from affecting us? Yes. I'm trying to do things for a better life. Not just mine, but mine and Jerry's. Now that all that being said and whatnot, I can sit here and study every manuscript I can get my hands on. Does that make my spiritual life better? Possibly. I know this much. Let me take a deep breath. I know this much. Every time I get into I'm going to call it a frenzy. Every time I get into a frenzy where I'm literally, and I'm going to use terms that I use for myself. I get into a frenzy and I gobble up every bit of biblical text. And I mean, what I mean by biblical is I literally mean the Bible, the Christian Bible. I gobble that up. And for every chapter and verse, book, chapter and verse, however you want to put it, that I write down and I read and I study and I keep close in books like this and in books like this, various notebooks, various journals, various pads of paper. I've got a stack of notes and whatnot that I'm trying to consolidate into a couple of journals so I don't have a bunch of little bitty notebooks and notepads loose all over the place. Trying to consolidate all my notes now. And it amazes me, yet it boggles my brain. How every time I get into these frenzies and start doing this, not only do I feel the positivity of the energy, but I don't even know how to describe it, but the immense flow that I get from it. And I sit there and go, even though I am how'd you put it? How would my betters or even equals put it? I don't call myself a scholar, because a scholar would be somebody who focuses on one particular subject. I guess, what is his name? I can't remember his name now. Chris Christopherson, the country music artist. My mom is a fan of. I think I said his name wrong, so I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong or if I sounded like I pronounced it wrong. But he was he called himself was it a Rhodes Scholar or Rogue Scholar? I don't remember the exact term. Now, I don't know exactly what he meant by it, because I did not remember the full conversation or full story that was put out about it. But I do study a very large variety of stuff. I'm talking about religious stuff, cooking stuff, historical stuff, heritage stuff. Not my mom. My wife put it best. I have a head full of junk that might not be useful to everybody, but it serves a purpose. Now, whether I convey information that makes people think or I can't convey information that people want to hear, or I can convey information that might be uplifting or causes somebody to think. I'm happy with that. Now, you might not be able to come to me and ask me a specific question on a specific piece of information, whether it's something I know or something I have to go look up. I might not be able to give you the answer you seek, but I will give you an answer that comes from within. Now, I've said it before. I follow three things. I follow my gut, because my gut instinct has not always steered me in the right direction, but it's always steered me in a direction that I needed to go. Whether it takes me through a valley or to the highest peak, that is part of the adventure of life. The second thing I listen to is my heart. Now, I know what the Bible says, and I know a lot of people say the heart can be mischievous and deceptive. But I think the only time the heart gets deceptive or becomes a deceiving part of your life is if you don't know enough, or you are not a positive enough person. Now, I'm not trying to say that people are not positive or are positive, because I've been through the not positive and the positive aspects of life. And right now, it's more of a neutral aspect, trying to be positive when there are certain things going on around me that are trying to drag me down into a negative aspect. And I'm trying my best to deal with it and fight it and help those who are being negative to become positive. One particular person, which I can't talk about right now, I have not been able to get a hold of them for whatever reasons, whether they're ignoring my phone calls and text messages or what. But I'm trying to help them make a decision instead of just going down into a bad place. And the third part is my soul, my spirit. I believe that the spirit and the soul is the guiding connection between this realm and the next. And what I mean by that is, without going into weird stuff, I believe that our souls are connected to what some people describe as the spiritual grand library. And what I mean by that is, it is the nexus or the connecting points between us, the living spirit, the living physical people, and the Holy Spirit, God himself. He puts out information. He's written your book. Your life story has been written, and your spirit is connected to the library, to that book. And if you listen to your spirit, if you quiet yourself and still your mind and meditate, and the word meditate might sound like a weird word, but if you concentrate, meditate, whatever you want to call it, hard and long enough, and listen to that small voice, that light that may seem very dim in the background of the chaos of life, that is your spirit. That is your connecting point to your life book, your written story. Now, granted, I say this, and I strongly believe that our life story is written. It might have a bunch of blank spaces, because those blank spaces are the spaces where we get to write in what we've done. Our destination, let's just put it this way, our destination has been chosen. It's from this point now to that point then in the future that may not be written in solid stone, but there are those spots within the book where not a decision, not a decided factor, but this is where we want you to go. You have the right to choose your method, but we have, and what I mean by we is the spirits that guide and protect us and watch over us have the power and ability to redirect us in the direction that we're supposed to go. Oh boy. I'm going to cut off here because, one, I'm kind of rambling. Two, it's already an hour-long video, and yeah, I'm going to have to basically really get in there and manipulate the commercials so there's not 1,000 commercials. But I'm going to cut off here. I know it's kind of a bad place to cut off because of what I was talking about, but you kind of get the gist of what I was talking about. So if you like this conversation, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, and I'm not even going to say the word positive anymore because, in fact, I've gotten to the point where it's like if the comments are not positive and they're really bad comments, I'm just going to out the door. But any of your questions, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you will have questions and comments, freely put them in. It is your free choice to put whatever comments you want to put in, but it's also my free choice to basically get rid of the comments that I do not approve of. So that's that. If you're not a subscriber and you want to be a subscriber, go ahead and hit subscribe, and then a bell will pop up, and you can hit the bell, and YouTube will let you know when I put in a new video. So until next time, God bless, be good, be safe, be positive. Enjoy your life. Try to make it joyful for others. You can only do your best. So until next time, God bless. Have a good day. Bye.